There is no ruling to appeal.
But Mr. Chairman, the rule was for the obligation, not consideration.
Gentlemen will suspend.
All right, raise your hand if you have no idea what's going on right now. Viva Frei, Montreal litigator turned YouTuber. This is Barney, one of two vlog dogs. Say hello, Barney. Hello, everybody. My name is Barney. You don't like that voice? The impeachment inquiry hearings, and my goodness, what is going on as far as procedure goes? I have a certain core philosophy that if I have a question, chances are there are a few other people out there who have the same question. And watching the most recent heated exchanges between Representative Biggs, Nadler, Gaetz, and Collins, I couldn't help but ask myself what on earth is going on in here? And I said I have to walk through at least one of these exchanges, highlight some of the key terminology so that hopefully people can have the slightest idea of what is going on a procedural basis. Now, in the context of these Trump impeachment inquiry hearings, there is some sort of procedure that the Judiciary Committee has to follow. And it's in virtue of some of this procedure that we hear some pretty bizarre terminology like the gentleman is recognized, the gentleman is suspended, point of order, parliamentary inquiry. Okay, go. Oh yeah. What does it all mean and what on earth is going on? Let's just start looking into it.
Mr. Chairman, I have a point of order.
The gentleman will state his point of order.
Mr. Chairman.
The first thing we need to know is who is the chairman and what are the functions of the chairman. Jerry Nadler, U.S. Representative for New York's 10th Congressional District, is currently the chairperson of the House Judiciary Committee. The House Judiciary Committee is responsible for impeachment of federal officials, including the president. The chairperson, chair, chairman, chairwoman, depending on who it is the presiding officer of the House Judiciary Committee. The chairperson is elected or appointed by committee members and presides over meetings to ensure that they are conducted, let's just say, in an orderly fashion. The chairperson is quite literally the person who has the hammer and drops the hammer. And Nadler is that chairperson. Now let me just pause and preface this video by saying that I might very well be wrong multiple times in this video. I am just trying to make sense of the subject matter myself for myself. And I've been Googling and doing online research just trying to understand what on earth is going on here. I came across a 45-page document on a government website called The Rules of the House of Representatives, which I think answers some of the questions. But I am truly not sure if these are the procedural rules that apply to the impeachment inquiry hearings before the House Judiciary Committee. There's something called the Robert Rules of Order, and anyone who's done high school debating will know what that is. And according to Wikipedia, it is the most widely used manual of parliamentary procedure in the United States. That said, from what I understand, the House Judiciary Committee is not abiding by Robert's rules per se. My understanding is that they make up their own rules quite literally, but they by and large follow Robert's rules. Either way, I'm going to try to make sense out of this by referring either to the rules of the House of Representatives or to Robert's rules. Which brings us to the other element, point of order. What is a point of order?
Point of order, Lisa stinks.
No, I did not say point of odor, I said point of order. In parliamentary procedure, a point of order occurs when someone draws attention to a rules violation in a meeting of deliberative assembly. Deliberative assembly? I gotta click on that and see what that means. A deliberative assembly is a gathering of members of any kind of collective who use parliamentary procedure to make decisions. Okay, but what is the point of order? What are the alleged rules that are being violated by Nadler according to, what was his name? Biggs. Let's see.
Clause 2J1 of Rule 11 requires you.
Suspense. What is Clause 2J1 of Rule 11? Procedures of committees and unfinished business. J1. Calling and questioning of witnesses. Whenever a hearing is conducted by a committee on a measure or matter, the minority members of the committee shall be entitled, upon request to the chair by a majority of them before the completion of the hearing, to call witnesses selected by the minority to testify with respect to that measure or matter during at least 1 day of hearing thereon.
Schedule a minority hearing day. Not to consider it, not to meet to discuss it, but to schedule one, and to schedule it at a reasonable time, not after articles have been drawn, not after there's been a vote on articles of impeachment. I inquire and insist, Mr. Chairman, that you immediately schedule a minority hearing day, or tell us why you are ignoring the rules.
Okay, now we understand a little better what's going on here. Representative Andy Biggs is saying that Nadler is not respecting the rules, hence the point of order. Andy Biggs is saying that Nadler has the obligation to schedule a hearing date where the minority can call witnesses they want to hear from. Nadler is saying that the point of order is not in proper order because that is not the object of the hearing that day, and that as such it is an improper point of order that need not be adjudicated on. In other words, Nadler and the committee are going going to proceed with the examination of the witnesses they have called without scheduling a date where the minority can call witnesses they want to hear from. Now, I am not coming to any conclusions on the well-foundedness of this point of order or Nadler's response. I just want to make sense of it, and I think I have, at the very least, to my own satisfaction. Let's carry on here.
The gentleman, we've already gone through that, but I will repeat, that is not a proper point of order in today's hearing. As I've told the ranking minority member several times, I'm considering the minority's request. If you think we would be violating the rules of the House if we considered articles of impeachment before holding a minority day hearing, that point of order would be timely at a meeting where we considered such articles. It's not the purpose of today's hearing, and the point of order is not in order.
Mr. Chairman, since I've been implicated in this, I'd like to ask.
Without objection,
Our comments have not.
without objection, all other opening statements will be included in the record.
Reserve my point of objection on that.
Okay, the point of
I have a
objection.
question. You've brought my name into
The
this.
gentleman,
You have brought my name into
the
this.
gentleman will suspend. The gentleman is recognized.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, gentlemen will suspend means your time is done. The chairperson says you can no longer speak. Gentleman is recognized means the chairperson who controls the whole meeting says, I shall now hear you talk. Go on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's telling me that you're considering something you have nothing to consider, and you have told me that, I'll admit on record, is nowhere close to actually following your duty as a chairman to follow the rules. And so I think the point of order is very well taken. I think the issue that we have is not, I think your timing is, show me please in the rule, have your parliamentarian show me in the rules where you come to a time of actually being able to deny this up at a certain point.
Okay, so I honestly don't know who's right and who's wrong here. I know what I think, and it sort of makes sense that you can ask that they schedule a hearing date so that you can call your own witnesses to be heard. And I'm not sure that I'm convinced by Nadler's response.
Further reserving the right to object.
As I have said,
Further reserving the right to
as I have
object.
said, the point of order would be in order at the meeting where we are considering articles.
Further reserving the right to object.
Okay, Nadler is saying that the point of order would be appropriate at the point where they are considering articles of impeachment. But to me, that sounds a little tardy to be calling witnesses that the minority wants to hear once they are already considering articles of impeachment. And I love how these rules are so complicated that they actually require the assistance of a parliamentarian
Have your parliamentarian show me in the rules.
to confirm whether or not they are in fact following the proper rules. It seems like this is in need of a whole lot of kiss for everybody who knows what I'm saying, and I am not talking about the band.
We will now hear presentations.
Chairman, I appeal the decision of the chair.
Appealing the decision of the chair, what does that mean? I'm not exactly sure what the procedure is for the House Judiciary Committee as relates to appeals, but at the very least, according to Robert's rules, an appeal must be raised at the time of the decision. If the reasons given in support of the appeal are convincing, the chairperson can override their initial ruling, and otherwise they put it to a vote. However, in the Nadler case, Nadler comes to the conclusion that he made no ruling because the point of order, because the point of order was itself out of order and there was no need to rule on it. I wonder if the decision not to rule on the point of order is itself appealable. Procedural nonsense that is enough to give anybody a headache.
There is no decision to appeal. There was not a ruling and a motion. We will now hear
There's a
presentations.
ruling on the point of order.
You made a ruling on the point of order.
You made a ruling on the point of order, Mr. Chairman. You can't then not allow us to appeal the ruling of the chair.
The gentleman will suspend.
All right, and that voice in the background is Representative Matt Gaetz, and I think he might be right because there was a ruling on the point of order which itself may be appealable. Either way, just to reiterate, this is not legal advice and I'm not coming to any conclusions. I just want to try to make sense out of what is going on, and I think we're getting there, maybe? Show of hands?
It was not a cognizable point of order.
Cognizable, for anybody who has not yet gone to look up that term, means not within the jurisdiction of the court. Meaning that Nadler has stated that the request, the point of order,
It's not funny anymore. It's actually not funny.
the point of order was itself not within the jurisdiction of subject matter that could be adjudicated upon, therefore it was not a cognizable point to be the subject of an appeal. And look at Gaetz, he is fuming, but that's not even the best of it.
Mr. Chairman.
It was not a cognizable point of order. It was not in order at this time to make that point of order. There is no ruling to appeal.
But Mr. Chairman, the rule was for the obligation, not consideration. You are obligated
The gentleman
to
will
schedule,
suspend.
not to consider. You made a ruling. It is in order to appeal.
The gentleman will suspend. We are doing what we have to do under the rules. We will now hear presentations of
Mr. Chairman.
evidence.
Mr. Chairman,
The gentleman
further-
is not recognized. We will now hear presentations of evidence.
I have a
from counsel.
parliamentary inquiry.
Ding, 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 ding. Parliamentary inquiry, a new term we have to look up. This one is relatively self-explanatory, and I'm pulling the definition from the United States Senate website. Parliamentary inquiry, a question from the floor to the presiding officer by a senator requesting a clarification of the procedural situation on the floor. Responses to parliamentary inquiries are not rulings of the presiding officer, but may lead the senator posing the inquiry or another to raise a point of order. Admittedly, this definition applies to the rules for the Senate, but I imagine that these rules apply mutatis mutandis to congressional hearings before the House Judiciary Committee. Mutatis mutandis meaning with the applicable changes as warranted.
I haven't removed my objection yet.
I will not recognize the parliamentary inquiry at this time. We will now hear presentations of evidence from counsels to the judiciary.
Is this when we just hear staff ask questions of other staff and the members get dealt out of this whole hearing? And for the next 4 hours, you're going to try to overturn the result of an election with unelected people giving
Gentlemen will suspend. This hearing will be considered in an orderly fashion. The gentleman will not yell out, and he will not attempt to disrupt the proceedings.
I mean, this is straight out of The Simpsons. This is straight out of The Simpsons. I think I might have to actually go through this video and make a montage of all the times Nadler smacks his gavel. In fact, I am going to do that. Stick around to the end of this video to see how many times does Nadler smack his gavel. Any guesses? I'm gonna say 47.
Not yell out, and he will not attempt to disrupt the proceedings. We will now hear presentations of evidence from counsels to the Judiciary Committee for up to 60 minutes, equally divided.
I've not removed my objection yet.
Barry Burke will present for the majority, and Stephen Castor will present for the minority. Each of you will have 30 minutes to present. To help you stay within that time, there is a timing light on your table. When the light switches from green to yellow, you have 1 minute to conclude your testimony. When the light turns red, it signals your time has expired. Mr. Burke, you may begin.
Mr. Chairman, you do realize I've never withdrawn my
Gentlemen will
objection.
suspend.
I've not withdrawn my objection. You've not asked me to talk to my objection. I want everybody to have an opening statement.
Gentlemen will...
Alright, and here I suspect that Nadler might understand the problem. The point of order that was initially raised is that they want to schedule a hearing date for one of their witnesses. Nadler says, no, that's not a proper point of order because that's not what we're dealing with today. If and when we discuss the articles of impeachment, then you can raise that point of order. And Representative Collins says, no, I want everyone to have an opening statement, including the witness that I'm asking you to schedule the hearing of right now. And that's kind of when Nadler's jaw drops, literally.
I want everybody to have an opening statement.
Gentlemen will...
Anyhow, the long and short of it is this is absolute madness. I think the solution to all of this madness would be to have a non-partisan moderator as the chairperson. A chairperson that is appointed by the majority of the members, and while I understand that that might follow party lines, I think it would certainly eliminate some issues to have the chairperson not be a committee member. Here the problem is that the chairperson, the person literally wielding all of the power with the stroke of a gavel, is a fundamentally interested party, therefore any decision that he or she makes can be a partisan decision. Especially decisions that appear to violate the rules of order or proper procedure. Okay, I hope I've clarified this for everybody who's watching, and if you like my videos and content, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, drop a comment in the comment section below. If you want to support the channel, merch links, PayPal links are in the pinned comment. If you want to watch another great video where I break down some questioning during the impeachment, I'm going to link it right here. And now let us find out just how many times Jerry Nadler smacked his gavel in the context of this 5-minute clip.
Without objection.
My name is the name of this.
On the point of order.
We're ruling on the point of order, Mr. Chairman. You can't then not allow us to appeal the ruling of the chair.
The gentleman will suspend to appeal.
But Mr. Chairman, the rule was the obligation, not consideration. You are obligated to schedule, not to consider. You made a ruling. It is in order to appeal.
Gentleman is not recognized.
Is this when we just hear staff ask questions of other staff and the members get dealt out of this whole hearing? And for the next 4 hours, you're going to try to overturn the result of an election with unelected people giving
Gentlemen will suspend.
Mr. Chairman, you do realize I've never withdrawn my
Gentlemen will
objection.
suspend.
I've not withdrawn my objection. You've not asked me to talk to my objection. I want everybody to have an opening statement.
Gentlemen will...
Alright, 31 gavel strikes by my count. I was way off.
I was way off.